Today our topic is the difference between Stoicism and Cynicism. Both Stoicism and Cynicism are ancient philosophies that teach us how to live a good life, but they have different ideas and methods. Stoicism and Cynicism were born in ancient Greece and later became popular in Rome. They both focus on how to live with wisdom, courage, and self-control, but they approach life in very different ways. Understanding these differences can help us decide which philosophy might work better for us, or how we can use ideas from both to improve our lives. First, let's talk about Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot control. The Stoics believed that the world is full of things we cannot change, like the weather, other people's actions, or even death. But we can control our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. Stoicism teaches us to stay calm, rational, and strong, even in difficult situations. The Stoics believe that by practicing self-control and thinking clearly, we can find peace and happiness, no matter what happens around us. Famous Stoic philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius wrote about how to live a good life by focusing on virtue, which means being honest, brave, and wise. They believe that the key to happiness is not in wealth, fame, or power, but in living a life of virtue and accepting whatever happens with a calm mind. Now, let's talk about Cynicism. Cynicism is a philosophy that teaches us to live simply and reject material things. The Cynics believe that society's rules and traditions are often meaningless, and that people waste their lives chasing money, fame, and luxury. Instead, Cynics like Diogenes of Sinope lived very simple lives, often without a home or possessions. Diogenes is famous for living in a barrel and carrying a lamp in the daytime, saying he was looking for an honest man. The Cynics believed that true freedom comes from rejecting society's expectations and living in harmony with nature. They thought that by giving up material things and living simply, we can find true happiness and peace. Cynicism is more extreme than Stoicism because it rejects not only material things, but also many social norms and traditions. So, what are the main differences between Stoicism and Cynicism? First, Stoicism is more about self-control and focusing on what we can control, while Cynicism is about rejecting material things and society's expectations. Stoics believe we can live a good life by practicing virtue and staying calm, even if we have wealth or status. Cynics, on the other hand, believe that wealth and status are obstacles to happiness, and that we should live as simply as possible. Second, Stoicism is more practical and balanced. Stoics don't reject society or material things completely. They just believe that these things are not the key to happiness. Cynicism, however, is more radical. Cynics reject not only material things, but also many social norms and traditions, which can make it harder to live in society. Third, Stoicism is more about inner peace and self-improvement, while Cynicism is more about freedom and living in harmony with nature. Stoics focus on controlling their own thoughts and emotions, while Cynics focus on freeing themselves from society's rules and expectations. Both Stoicism and Cynicism have valuable lessons for us today. Stoicism teaches us to stay calm and rational, even in difficult situations. It reminds us that we cannot control everything, but we can control how we react to what happens. This is a very useful lesson in a world full of stress and uncertainty. Stoicism can help us deal with problems at work, in relationships, or in our personal lives by teaching us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot control. Cynicism, on the other hand, reminds us that material things are not the key to happiness. In a world where many people chase money, fame, and luxury, Cynicism reminds us that true happiness comes from living simply and being free from unnecessary desires. Cynicism can help us focus on what really matters in life, like our relationships, our health, and our inner peace. So, How can we use these philosophies in our own lives? First, we can take the best ideas from both Stoicism and Cynicism. From Stoicism, we can learn to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot control. When we face problems, we can ask ourselves, is this something I can change? If not, how can I accept it and stay calm? This can help us reduce stress and find peace in difficult situations. From Cynicism, we can learn to live simply and not chase material things. We can ask ourselves, do I really need this? Will it make me happier, or is it just a distraction? This can help us focus on what really matters and avoid wasting time and energy on things that don't bring us true happiness. Second, we can practice self-control and self-improvement. Both Stoicism and Cynicism teach us to focus on ourselves and not on external things. We can practice self-control by avoiding bad habits like overeating, overspending, or wasting time on social media. We can also practice self-improvement by learning new skills, reading books, or exercising. By focusing on ourselves, we can become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Third, we can learn to accept whatever happens in life. Both Stoicism and Cynicism teach us that life is full of ups and downs, and we cannot control everything. But we can control how we react to what happens. By accepting life's challenges and staying calm, we can find peace and happiness, no matter what happens. In conclusion, Stoicism and Cynicism are two ancient philosophies that teach us how to live a good life. Stoicism focuses on self-control, virtue, and accepting what we cannot change, while Cynicism focuses on living simply and rejecting material things. Both philosophies have valuable lessons for us today. By taking the best ideas from both, we can learn to stay calm, live simply, and focus on what really matters in life. Whether we choose to follow Stoicism, Cynicism, or a combination of both, the most important thing is to live with wisdom, courage, and self-control. Life is full of challenges, but with the right mindset we can find peace and happiness no matter what happens.